Welcome to Real Talk with Kristen Ross, episode number 24. We're excited here again as we continue to climb the charts, coming at you live and in person. My co-host, Ross Rawson III, out in Michigan. What's up, my friend? For those who are tuning in for the first time, this is a podcast designed ultimately kind of focused around real estate. Ross and I have been in the real estate industry for combined over 30 years. So we have a lot of talent, energy, and ideas around helping you build your business in the real estate sector. But also we really love to enjoy to get really diced and sliced into the mental mindset of how it all begins. And so we love forward thinkers, entrepreneur mind people who are just like us with visionaries. So this hopefully covers everybody that is just looking to grow in every area of your life. So we hope this is exciting for you. Again, if you're joining for the first time, welcome. For those who are here listening every week, thank you again for tuning in always. How are you doing, my friend Ross? What's going on, brother?
Doing great, man. I got to say, it's been so fun meeting consistently and knocking through all these different topics. And, I know the people that are listening, if you like a certain topic too, I wanted to say this, if they like a certain topic or want us to talk about something, they should actually message us on our Instagram or our Facebook page or whatever, because it would be cool too to hear from the listeners of, hey, we have this topic, but outside of that, man, things are going great.
Awesome,
things are awesome here, man. The sun's starting to come out in spring, in Michigan. So
we always got to cover the Weather Channel, right? Every episode we talk about it. And I tell you what, California just threw us for a freaking wrench. Pouring rain yesterday, freezing cold. The days, 2 or 3 days prior to that, it was like 90 degrees, beautiful, sunny. And then the next couple of days, it's been raining, pouring. I have to go out and run, obviously, in part of my regimen of running my workout gear. So I had to run in the rain. Had to pull that rain jacket out again, man. Holy crap.
75 hard, man. Do it to
you. Jeez. Yeah. So awesome. I'm glad to hear the weather's good over there. We are now kind of, hopefully, I think maybe down a little bit of that rain. I'm really enjoying just almost some spring. I'm ready for some spring, man. I really do.
It affects like your mental mindset with the whole weather, doesn't it? Like when it's just cloudy and rainy all the time, I don't care how optimistic you are, it gets to you.
Oh, dude, that's why you think the people live in Washington State. That's where I was at for a while, right? Wow. My last duty station was actually in Washington State at Fort Lewis, man. So I did a spell in Washington. I tell you what, that is not a state. It's beautiful, it's plush, it's green, but my gosh, it rains like 95% of the time.
Wow.
The suicide rate there is ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous. Oh, they say it's probably one of the highest in the area, because again, you get very gloomy and depressed when the weather is gloomy and depressed, when you overcast. It's like this thing that kind of settles over you like this cloud. And you wonder why, which is ironic that we're going to have a conversation today about the month of May.
Let's go. What is that, Chris? What's going on in May?
May I tell you? Yeah. So month of May. Well, I guess it's the Mental Health Awareness Month, right? So we are deep in that, which is my favorite sector to always talk about. Every week, those that listen to us regularly know we're always talking about mindset, because that is the core foundation to anything in life.
That's right.
If you can't figure this out and get your stuff, I say get your shit figured out. I mean, obviously, a lot of people don't. Actually, it was interesting. I attend this men's group. Sorry, bar again here, squirrels. But I attend this men's group here, and every 2 weeks. Last night we had a good men's group, and it's about 10 of us, which is a different one. And we got into this conversation, man, about everybody going through stuff right now. Everybody's going through this, and every man in there, doesn't matter what age group where you were at, they were all dealing with something in their life right now, whether it was within their family, their core family group, right? Their husband and wife scenario, the kids, their work, their employees, their colleagues, their friends, just people in general. Like everybody is really going through it right now more than ever.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I know you're listening. It's nuts.
It is, and I feel like I'm seeing that here too, right? Like even in my own life, the people that I talk to, so if you're experiencing that all the way out in Cali, we're experiencing that out here in Michigan. And I kind of ask myself, well, why are we having these feelings? And it almost feels like, and again, this is just my assumption, but we had COVID in 2020. Okay. And I'm not trying to go there, but let's just kind of look at it.
Oh, let's go there. Let's go there.
No, you're great, man. But everything was like, holy crap, we're in a pandemic, and then, people were getting sick, I know you had, you were in the hospital with COVID, man. I'm so sorry you experienced that. Right. Yeah. It's no joke. But then we had this overwhelming emotion of we didn't know what was going to happen for the future. And then this speed of a market, at least in real estate. And I know it was that way everywhere. It almost seemed like that we were a shortage of inventory for everything because the markets were just booming. We were going 1,000 miles an hour. And then it almost felt like in 2022, like quarter two, quarter three, it was like rest.
Mm-hmm.
And everything just slowed down. And then everyone's like, whoa, I just came off of 2 years of just feeling like I was on steroids of fear of, my business, of everything. And now they're all trying to get back in the normal flow and find their grounding and find out, you know what I mean? I mean, that's kind of been my assumption about like what I'm experiencing, at least, and listening to other people too. It's kind of like went from 0 to 100, then back to like 50, maybe not 0, but it sped up and kind of calculated back.
Oh, 100%. I think it's all over the board. It's hard to tell. It's hard to even track that. But it's interesting. I think a lot of stuff, you're right. 2020 is probably just the beginning of it. I think 2020 was a complete shit show.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally did throw everybody in a chaotic wrench. I think now post-COVID, people are still freaking weird. Yeah. They really are. Yeah. You have not figured out how to be a human again. It's just insane to see how people behave. The fear factor has been increased tremendously. That just created so much negative energy in people's lives. Like they've literally turned people onto people. They've turned like people onto people. We are literally like freaking out. And so this is just, I feel like, downward spiral. I mean, but that's all negative shit. I don't really want to talk about that. I mean, it's part of it. We can't ignore it.
For sure.
Because it is the contributor of it all. But like, maybe how do we get past it? This is the month of May being the mental. It's time to spend some time, energy, and effort into figuring out how to be healthier, how to be better in your mental space.
Yeah.
More than ever, I think is now. And it just, an interesting thing, I do a lot of reading and I love reading. I just finished that book last month where we had that How to Own Your Mind by Napoleon Hill. And we talked about it a couple podcasts back about, your social heredity stuff and everything. And it's interesting, last night in that men's group, 9 out of 10 of the men have 0 relationships with their dad.
Wow.
One guy had a decent relationship with his dad, but the other 9, non-existent. And I can speak for myself. I mean, my situation, non-existent.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to think this is all based on that.
Same too. Like, honestly, same, man. Like, I really don't have a good relationship with my dad.
No.
God rest his soul, and I think there's a place of empathy and understanding, but like, hey, man, like, I respect you. I care for you. Like, do your thing. But it's not like hey, son, come here. I love you. Or, hey, son, how you doing? Or whatever. It's just kind of not that way. So that's wild. 9 out of 10 men do not have a good relationship with their dad.
Nope. And a lot of those men are actually God-fearing Christians, right? So it's not like they're just run-of-the-mill drug addicts or loosely wild cards. They're real legitimate, upstanding citizens in the community, very highly recognized, very well off financially and in business. And then one of the things that we talked about, like most of us in that group have changed the cycle. We've kind of advertently changed the cycle of what was going on within that sphere of their family generationally to pass down to the next generation. And then I personally have made it a point that I would never be like my dad.
Yeah.
And
same.
And all the other men in that group did the same thing. So it's interesting how that kind of came through. So again, life's about choices. You can decide to either fall into it or you decide to fall out of it and figure out your own path, create your own way, in a way in which that is healthy to give and create a better lifestyle for you and your kids moving forward. Change that trajectory, right?
So powerful, man. It is. I remember this moment vividly, and I'll share this with the audience, but my dad, when I was like 15, he had me in the car and we're driving and he's like, hey, son, if you want to be successful, you want to get this right. You just got to do everything the opposite that I did. No. He was sold out. And like, we joke, cause I'll still talk to him here and there, but like he jokes, he's like, no, like, son, I was being serious. Like, I knew that I was not giving you the tools that you needed. So just do everything the opposite. And I feel like that's a lot of like what you've experienced, what you're saying, right? Like you just looked and go, man, I didn't like the way I felt. I didn't like the direction that I was being led to. I'm just going to go the opposite direction. But finding what is right in that opposite direction is kind of like what we struggle with, right? Like what are the things I'm supposed to do? And how do I be this, man, or, if you're a woman and, you didn't have a good mother upbringing, I'm assuming, right? You would try to learn what those characteristics are of being a good woman or a good man. And that kind of, even for me in my own adult life, has been the struggle, right? Like, how do you find it?
Well, you have to turn yourself into it again. We go right back to that whole being an attractor, right? you're going to have to attract it in your life. But you got to, in order to be an attractor in your life, you actually ultimately have to become that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. Everybody's like kind of looking for somebody else to become that thing instead of actually making themselves that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like they're totally looking for a charging station to plug into to be able to get to be a way in which they want to be. But it's not, that's not the job of somebody. It's your job. You take ownership of that yourself.
Yeah.
You got to figure out how to be that person. Otherwise, you will be that person constantly walking around. I just imagine in my mind this like extension cord walking around through life, always looking for an outlet.
Mm.
Oh my God, what am I gonna plug into? Plug in. Oh, this one went dead. Got to replug the GFCI. Right? It's like that. Like, oh, next outlet. And it's like you haven't fixed your cord. I mean, it's kind of wild, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. So
no, I got that. That analogy is 100%, brother. Yeah.
You know, and I think it goes both. I mean, this is not gender specific here. We're talking. I'm not trying to be sexist or anything. I think it goes both ways. There's a male figure, obviously, as a man growing up to take care of your kids, whether it's a boy or a girl. I mean, we always talk about in the female sector, it's like the woman has daddy issues, right? And then that kind of rolls over, and they're always striving to look for somebody to replace the daddy scenario, right? There takes a place in the space for mental wealth and fair and health there too, right? Like, how do you become aware of that mental health and take care of that area, right? So I love this month. This is my by far, I think, is great because I'm digging into my mental wealth. You know, like right now, the 75 hard thing for me is like completely recharging me and committing me to do things that honestly I never would have done. And that's the truth. I would not have done these things at all. I would not committed to the level I'm committed at all unless I had done this specific thing. And it's you got to find out what it is your thing.
Yeah.
What is your thing that's going to make you change? And I have so many people reach out to me right now. I have a lot of friends who are like, "Oh my God, Chris, I stopped drinking because of you." I'm like, "Oh, what?" "Yeah, you've impressed me so much. I'm stopping drinking." I'm like, "Okay, that's on you, but
better find a good why too, brother, because I don't know if I can lead you to the promised land."
I know, right? It's like, okay, yeah, but there's like somebody like, "Oh my God, I love what you're doing. You're inspiring me." I really have friends texting me all the time now, and like, "I'm changing this, I'm changing that," or "Hey, Chris, I want to kind of do what you're doing too." I didn't realize that. And I think it's another piece that people don't really understand, that you really are a specter that people actually watch. People watch you. People watch everybody. And you know, if you continue to emulate these qualities of healthy mental mindset, like progress, people follow that journey.
Come on.
Right. And
proximity's so I'm like, power too, right? So the people that are in your corner, in your own life, you're saying now you're setting this example of what's happening. They're now connecting to you because they're realizing, hey, maybe Chris actually is onto something. And okay, like this matters.
It does. It's crazy, but you don't realize how much of an impact you have until people start saying, "Hey, I'm doing this." Yeah, Chris got me incentivized. I'm like, I didn't know that. Like, who am I? But you're important. Every human being on this planet is important. Number one, I think the start of mental awareness is understanding how valuable you are as an individual. Everybody on this planet was put in here by God, designed by God to be an amazing individual.
Come on.
Right? To be an amazing individual with unique talents that you have for every person on this planet. And starting with you, like when you look in the mirror, right? And that's what I'm learning too. Like, it's starting with me. And everybody always doesn't want to realize that everything starts with you, ends with you. And it's like we're looking for all these, again, these external pieces or things that we can attach to. And oh my God, I'm looking for this because if I have that, my life's going to be complete. No, your life should be complete now.
Correct. You are fully loved, fully like filled with every main purpose that, you know, God, for me, it's God, universe, whatever you want to call it. Right. I'm not trying to get religious here, but you are completely perfect in God's eyes now. Don't need the Ferrari. You don't need the, you know, the mansion. You don't need, you know, the perfect spouse that's going to complete you. Right. You just need to know. And someone said this to me one time and it was so powerful. It was like, okay, when you come into the earth, okay, you obviously your mother births you, right? And she holds you, right? But even in that moment, besides the being held, you were just connected to your creator, right? You first were connected to your creator, and then your mother and your father, they held you, whatever. Okay. Then you go on. And then when you die, you go back to your creator. So you start off basically alone and you end alone with this creator. And sometimes in that gap of life, we think that, oh, well, if I get this spouse or if I get this or if I get that, it's going to connect it all. I'm going to feel this wholeness or whatever. But it's such a delusion because, and this is what the guy said in this message, is you could meet your spouse Everything could go being perfect. Something could happen. You could, lose your spouse by a, God-given accident, whoever knows. And then you're right back to the singleness once again. You're right back to just you and God. And that's all that matters.
Yeah, but see, the people don't realize that that's where it's super important for you to really build that mental awareness and your health and your well-being so that you can stand solid on your 2 feet in case of something like that does happen, right? Uniquely, again, it always dissolves around you be able to stand alone. Do you want to be alone for the rest of your life? No, but ideally when you are good and safe and healthy in that area, then you can start taking the next step and finding, but that's what happens when you start attracting people, right? You attract people that way because you actually are in a great place yourself. You attract the healthy ones into your life because you're in that space. When you're not, you attract what you are. Like attracts like. That's how I've always worked, right? So I love it. Yeah. So mental awareness. A couple of things you talk about, right? It's change, right? What are some of the variables to having a mental, it's awareness month, and how do we take that space in which we're staying on top of being mentally healthy? It's such a very diverse piece. I mean, it can go so many directions, right?
Yeah. You can go many directions.
You can go many directions with this, right? And I believe that number one, your mental health and well-being needs to be fed, number one, on a daily basis. You can't do it once and think that's going to take care of you for the next 2 years. It's like getting up and brush your teeth every day. You need to maintain a level of a habit. You need to maintain a consistent ritual in which you actually take care of yourself. A lot of people go to the gym every day, right? For those who are gym rats out there listening, if you're a gym rat and you love going to the gym because you believe in all the physical level you need to be at for you every day, it's your regimen, good for you.
Yeah.
But how many of you actually take time to do things like read 10 pages in a book every day? Listen to a podcast that's informative. Listen to something that's going to take you to the next level mentally, emotionally fit. I mean, all of this stuff, right? That's a whole other piece. How many people actually go talk to a therapist?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, people think, oh my God, something must be wrong with you. You must be jacked up if you went to a therapist. No, it's the same unique process of me going to the gym, working on my muscles. Why should I? My mind is the strongest muscle in my entire body.
Yep. And it really is that whole stigma, and in fact, like this is why when we look at Instagram and social media too, it's kind of like we see the highlight reels and we see all these things. No one wants to appear to be maybe a little broken or maybe, there's something going on. But the truth is, and like you said, 9 out of 10 guys that are successful, that have jobs, that have families, that are connected in a faith, that are coming together in a men's group. Okay, they're going extracurricular, brother. Okay, this isn't just like a have to. This is they're pouring in. They also have stuff going on, and it's that's why I love this topic. I mean, mental health has been huge for me. I mean, I was the guy that had horrible anxiety growing up, developed panic attacks by 18, just could not get a hold of my mind, and, I went down to the prescription drug route, which, hey, if that's something you do, I have no judgment. It's great for those who it works for. It wasn't working for me. I tried literally any and everything, but it wasn't until what you just said, Chris, writing down, reading, having healthy changes, actually applying things, and also understanding the discomfort and that it will pass. Right? Because sometimes, at least for me, and this is just my story, guys, I really want to make that known, is that like when I was in that whole, anxiety phase of my life and dealing with those panic attacks, I was just uncomfortable with the idea that maybe there was something wrong with me and I didn't realize that I could actually change it. So even when I experienced the uncomfort of anxiety, I kind of just like try to mask it and run away from it and act like it wasn't real, rather than going right into the root of it and saying, hey, yeah, this is going to be uncomfortable, but we're going to make change. We're going to sit in this and figure it out. We're going to, do the exercise. We're going to do the reading, the writings, and things to make an actual change.
Yeah. Well, I think that goes part of course, right? The reality is that most people don't go and talk to, let's say we talk about go to a therapist or go unravel or go unpackage or go open up and peel back the layers of an onion to really see what the root of the cause is. But we walk on this planet like this. Oh, it's like a virus. I feel like it's a virus. And that probably is a horrible terminology to use it, but we're walking around like a virus that we don't really ever take care of. Right. Yeah. And at any moment, that virus can flare up and create some challenges.
Yeah.
And it's like either we just kind of like get to the point where we almost accept those virus blowouts as a way of normalcy. Okay, that's normal. but it's not normal, people. Fix that shit. It's not normal. You can't walk through life as a virus and think that you're going to have a healthy, prosperous life if that's the version of life which you choose to have. That's great. But I choose to have an amazing life. And I know what my definition of amazing life is for me. And it's going to require me, though, on a daily basis to make sure my mental wealth and well-being is on course. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Because the moment I stop, I'm realizing now, and this is, I mean, again, for those who are listening, I'm not going to sit here and pretend for one moment that I'm like this philosopher that's been walking around forever, like in a white robe going, ooh, you know, in the Shaolin doing all this crazy shit. Like I'm just so perfect and I can move rocks with my mind. No, this just started with me actually in January of this year, where I like had this moment, like I am going to change. I wrote some things on a notepad of what I'm going to do. And it's so ironic. I'm like, look at like my thing first was that I was going to become the person I needed to be. I need to become the version of the person I need to be. I need to become the best version I possibly could be to have the life that I want, to create the wealth, freedom, and the stuff that I want. I need to become that person.
Come on.
Right. And that was so ironic that I wrote that. That's exactly what I wrote it. And it's like, okay, what does that even mean? To become the person? Like, all right, where do I go to the library and I look it up? Do I Google how to be? Maybe I should chat GPT that. How do I become the person I need to be? Right. But it's
probably get a good answer.
I know, big old 30 page long answer.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's like interesting you say that, right? So like I'm now in this space where I realize that I need to make changes in my life, and I'm where I'm at for a reason.
Yeah. It's not always comfortable either, man. Right. Like you're going through 75 hard. I know that's not easy.
No,
that's extremely hard, right? But you're going to the discomfort, to the source, to the problem, to, you know, maybe your inconsistencies or that you had that is not allowing you to be the person, right? And that's not easy. That's not comfortable, right?
Yeah.
But because of that, you're seeking that. Look at you now, man. You're just smiling from ear to ear. We got the Japanese cowboy on 10 right now.
Hey, you know what though? But this is all also I want people to understand they're listening. This is not like an everyday you wake up with butterflies and freaking rainbows again. This is not that.
Yeah.
Because I wake up every morning challenged. Like I mentioned in the podcast before, every morning I wake up, it's a pile of shit. Like it is. It's like every morning you recycle that. And so it's not like you wake up with this motive. And so, you know, we talked about gratitude, right? That's a great way to spearhead that, is to be grateful always every morning when you wake up for what you have.
Yeah.
Grateful that you woke up, first off.
Yeah, man. I think gratitude, and there's that saying, gratitude will change your attitude, right? There's that cheesy saying, but it is so true because like you said, we just talked about in this podcast of feeling completely maybe not whole because we're not where we're at or want to be, is definitely the only way to cure that is gratitude. And gratitude can get you through, I think, literally any mindset change. Because my wife is the one who honestly calls me out. I hope she's listening to this episode, but I will just be in a funk, right? And to this whole like mindset and growth and everything else, like guys, it's not 10 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. It's a constant just refining. But my wife will say to me like, again, honey, look at your life. Look what you have. You're here. You're alive. You're breathing. And then when I go back to my book right here that I, take with me daily, where I write my affirmations, my goals, and, my gratitude list literally are in here. I go, how am I in my head? And I think back to this whole mental awareness month, a lot of it we create in our minds. Yep. We create it in our minds. The unconscious is just screaming all these things at us all day, making us feel a certain way. And guess what happens? We find ourselves down the rabbit holes of, I need to do this and this, 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 and this. And it's just like, dude, no. Find gratitude. Find out who you want to be. It's okay to be uncomfortable sometimes. Go all in. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I think your subconscious cavity is probably your worst enemy. It really is. It's subconscious vault is where all that crap that you've experienced, the journey of your life that you've experienced is sitting there, just marinating in there. And ever so often, it's like a freaking diffuser. Boop, just stuff pops out, right? And it just accentuates all the other heightened sensories that we have with and if our mental awareness is not solid, then we succumb and subject ourselves to all of those pieces, the insecurities, the anxiety, and all the shit that we start creating, right? 99% of the stuff that we create is not even going to come true.
That's right.
We like 1% probably does. The other 99 is just bullshit that we've put up and conjured up into our minds. And in this space, this energy, and oh my God, look how it takes us on this roller coaster. And
crazy, man.
Right into a dead end wall. And then we just crash, right? I wonder how did I get here? How did I
Yeah.
get here? Which also, a couple things I really want to add to like mental awareness and that space in which you need to hold yourself is boundaries.
Yeah, dude.
You have a mental mindset, you have a space, your mental and health, you need to keep like in a vault. That is your safekeeping. Like you need to protect that at all costs because their best version of you needs to be protected at all costs, and nothing should ever succumb to that. Nothing should ever thwart that or destroy that. The
Yeah.
moment it does, you need to get out of that instantly, because if we're in it for too long, we will start to fall apart, and then you start to lose yourself, and then you start to not identify who you are, and then you start to become, then your insecurities kick in, then because your mental wealth starts to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a chipped away a little bit. The armor gets chipped away a little bit. Next thing you know, you got this hole that allows something to get through.
Yeah.
And you're done. So and it depends on what crowd you talk to, because some people think that's being selfish.
Mm.
That the fact that you love yourself and all this is being selfish. No, it's not.
Yeah. Well, then there's hey, if you're too confident, then you're just this cocky person. And then if you're just so low down here, you're just depressed. And, I don't know if I'm going to fall on the scale, I'm definitely going to want to be happier up here and love myself. And you know what I mean? Like, how much of that do you actually, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a different level there. I mean, we're talking, when you talk about loving yourself so much to a level of arrogance and ego.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Versus you just love yourself enough that you will not let anything destroy your mental and health and well-being. Mm-hmm. Your state of mind that you in, and understand, like, again, let's go back to those 9 out of 10 men that have troubles or no relationships at all. We obviously all have challenges that we've been working on our whole entire life to become the better version that we need to become. Mm-hmm. Right. And as we're building that, that's what we need to keep that as a safety. Again, we need to hold on to that. The recovery that we've been doing, I've been doing recovery. I mean, I've been doing recovery for years. I've been to therapy. I'll tell you right now. And listen, I'm not ashamed to say it. I've been to therapy for years.
Same.
In my early 40s, I went to therapy for years because I know I had a freaking closet full of skeletons that I needed to clean out. And finally I did. But it put me in a place where I'm at today, though.
Yeah.
And I am protective of my mental health and well-being. I know I need to be in a certain place for myself because I took this journey that I've recovered, and I'm not going to let anybody take that away from me.
Come on. I'll keep going. You
no,
got some, no, you got some.
Right. No, say it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. It's to your point on that, like Napoleon Hill talks about this a lot, right? And he talks about the actors within us, and in Truthful Living, he speaks about this. And what he was saying is that, like, you need to be who you are around everybody at every time, and to not compromise your belief for anybody. You have to protect that at all costs. And he gives references, and I actually love the references that he gives. And like, so for instance, I used to work at a gas station when I was 18. It was like one of my first jobs. Okay. And I started to notice, like, every time, hey, how's it going? Oh, going great. Weather's going good. Stocks are up. This happened, this. Everyone had a very similar message. And I remember thinking to myself, like, whoa, like, why is everyone's mindset so similar? Like, we're all talking about the same shit. Right. And then I started to understand, like, as Napoleon Hill saying, like, hey, you do not need to lower yourself down to meet somebody at their conversation level. You can protect your heart and your mindset and just not engage in that conversation of, someone saying that the sky's falling down or whatever it's at, like, things are just going bad. You do not need to participate in that. Somebody in our EXP group is really well known for that. Dylan said he's not going to accept a down changing market. He's not going to accept it. And what happened to his numbers? Skyrocket. Why? Yeah. Because he protected his mindset. He protected his beliefs at all costs. And for me, like in my friend group, I did the same. Like, I have friends that, hey man, I love you. I love you from afar. I'm cheering you on. Keep up the great work. But you know what? Out of respect of myself, I just can't have you in my mind because you're telling me things and saying things. And eventually you hang around a barbershop. What happens? You get a haircut.
Or you get a shave. Completely bald.
Right.
You get more than what you bargained for. You're like, I want to go in for a little trim. You come out bald.
That's right. But you know what I'm saying? It's a
Mhm.
thing. It is really a thing. And I don't think it's selfish. I think honestly, it's actually the most true thing that you can do for yourself, for your family, and for everybody else around you is to protect your heart and mindset. Because if you truly believe that you're on this earth to give back to the world and to yourself a certain objective that God's placed on your heart, why are you going to limit that with the people that you know that you are going to hold you back from your full potential? That's actually more selfish
Yeah.
because you're worried about the rejection. You're worried about hurting their feelings, whatever. No. You need to live out your best version of you.
100%. And when you live out your best version of you, you will ultimately find something or anything, another energy source that will attract your life that's very similar.
Yeah.
Yep. Because that's where it's about. It's about attracting that into your life. And then you become a pillar in society. You become something that's, respected.
That's right.
And that's key. For those who want to be that, that's up to them. But yeah, so yeah, this mental mindset space is intriguing. Like I could talk about it all day long. I'm glad this is the month of May for mental awareness because I think it's a very hot topic that
Mm-hmm.
everybody should take a pause and they should really take inventory right now of where they're at mentally and emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you this person who's perched on a log waiting to just attach yourself to something because you're missing something? Like, you need to find that you can uniquely within yourself. I'm sorry, you just do. It's time to recharge and become the person that you are, ultimately the master of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's amazing and unique. Again, God created us to be amazing and unique, and we all are. We all just need to see that.
Come on.
We just need to see that and realize that it's belief system of who we are, and that creates a great mental mindset well-being in your life, right? That's a great place. Why do you think it's something like I was listening to Tony Robbins say, like all these people that have money and success and all these things, but yet multiple of them are depressed, they're unhappy, bad relationships, committing suicide. They lack fulfillment. The
Mm-hmm.
mental health and well-being is not there. They're not fulfilled. They lack the fulfillment in their life,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So prosperity, what is, I mean, I'm reading that new book, Life in Air. That's our new book for the month, Life in Air. It's such a great book in there. It's talking about prosperity. What is the definition of prosperity to you? And again, uniquely, again, it's kind of like one of those things. You got to get in your mind and figure out what that looks like. For everybody's different, right? But at some point you're looking to prosper and to be at a level of prosperity. And what does that define for you? And everybody has a different version of it. But yeah, I
Love
think
it.
you got to be in a good space mentally for anything.
Yeah, that's right. Literally. In anything in life, it all starts in the mind.
Mm-hmm. We talk about it, right? Every week. It's our
Every
favorite
week.
subject. We always say, like, it's always going to go back to this
It's gonna
because
go
it
back
does.
to it.
It
Yeah.
does. Like, we can
Yeah.
talk about everything, right? But I'm glad this mental, I was like, oh, when you said, hey, it's month of May, like, dude, we're going to pull trigger on that
Let's
for
go.
sure.
Hey
Because
man,
I
and
feel
we
like,
know this was a great episode. Come on. I mean, we touched on, we left the heart on the line. We poured it out. I mean, this is what it's about. This is the fruit. This is the gold right here.
oh, 100%. So, I mean, wherever you're looking to prosper in your business, your relationships, your life, your connections, anything you're looking to do, it always starts first with your mental health and well being, first off, foremost, which is why the month of May is designed around that. It is time to really focus on that and put some energy and time and energy to that. I'm serious because you won't regret it.
Mm-hmm.
I promise that you will not regret it. So spend some time. Find one thing. I tell everybody, find one thing. We're like, oh, I want to do the 75 hard. Don't do the 75 hard.
Yeah.
Do something.
Do
Maybe
one
it's
workout a day,
just
dude.
do one workout a day, or
Yeah.
get a book and read a book, 10 pages of book every day. Whatever you figure out what you need to do, but find something that you can create as a routine, a ritual on a
Mm-hmm.
daily basis that's going to improve your mental wealth and well-being. That's the key.
That
Find something.
I met a psychologist at one point, and he was a very successful guy. And he said that he's seen people from all walks of life, all from success to none, right? To happy to not. And he said the one thing that guaranteed less anxiousness, less depression, less all of the things that we don't want to feel was just putting one step in front of the other. That was
Mhm.
it. It wasn't a leap. It wasn't a jump. He just said all that mattered was taking one extra step in front of the other, one extra thing, reading one extra book, going for one extra walk, maybe reaching out to one extra friend to tell them to have a good day, just doing something one step at a time and having a goal and keep going. It doesn't need to be crazy. That right there can help out tremendously if you're in a funk.
Mhm.
Doesn't need
Change
to
your,
be hardcore. Doesn't need
no,
to be hardcore. Even though I know myself, I'm a 0 to 100 kind of guy.
yeah.
Okay. I'm not working out to 75 hard
Mm.
to not working out. Right.
Yeah.
It's one or the other.
I hear you. And everybody has their own version of it. You figure out what yours is. Just find one, pick one, and do one.
Yeah.
Something, right? Stop making excuses saying, oh, I can't do it. Yeah, you can. You can do something.
Yeah.
It's time. This month is the month. Spend 30 days right now. 30 days for you to figure out something that you can plug into to really start to repair, fix, mend, and you know what? Have a conversation with people. This is like that other night at the men's group about the support, you know, and challenges, support and challenges. Yeah, life's full of challenges, but our support doesn't match those challenges, right? And then you get this big gap where all of this messy shit, right? So every morning you wake up, more challenges, life challenges, issues, challenges, marriage, family, business, work, kids, challenge, but our support drops, right? And then all of a sudden you have that massive gap that between the two of those. And what happens in that massive gap? Everything that you shouldn't be thinking of goes wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Where all the crap happens. And it's a matter of you plugging in and having that. So another part, if you're going through something right now, reach out to somebody. Reach out, let go of your pride and ego and reach out to somebody and have a conversation and tell them what's going on. Because you'd be surprised how many people would be willing. I would be willing. If you wanted to call me, I would talk to anybody. If you got something going on in your life, yeah, anybody. And I'll even put my phone number in the thing. I don't really care. Call me. If you need to talk and you're going through some serious shit right now where your mental wealth and well-being is totally fucked up and you can't figure some shit out right now and you're on the brink of just like, I want to jump off a bridge, dude, call. Because this is about support in life and having somebody there to help you. And man, that's powerful. I've had many friends who have taken their lives.
Yeah, same.
You know, horrible. I mean, it's crazy. And it's not like, don't think anybody is immune to that. Because people look down and stigmatize that. Oh my God, you committed suicide, or you thought about committing suicide? Yeah, some people do. The craziest people you don't even know. Crazy people you don't even know what's going on inside, and they could have probably have done that. So just saying right now, just take the month, everybody. Really, really, really hone in and figure out what your mental wealth and well-being right now is. It's time to really take that. Be grateful for everything you do have. Be okay with change. Change is inevitable. Get in there and really, really hone in on your boundaries. Figure out what's important in your life, what's not important in your life, and really find ways to dig into some personal development. Do something that's healthy regularly. A regimen is something to feed your mind regularly, man.
Come on. And honestly, give yourself grace. Come on.
Yeah.
You give yourself some grace. And I know I'm the grace guy and I say it almost on every podcast, but I just want to say to anybody, I mean, if you're listening to this, you're already showing yourself that you care about accelerating your life. If you've gone this far in the podcast, you obviously care and are trying to make changes. So celebrate that. Like that right there is change. Sitting and listening to this podcast and trying to get ahead of your life and trying to learn new tools and techniques. I mean, come on, man. That's a great positive change. You know, that's better than sitting and watching, I mean, depending on what you're watching, but like, surfing the internet and just getting a bunch of garbage. I mean, you're obviously going to a podcast where you want to listen to entrepreneurs, and that's big. And, when you fall down, it's okay. It's okay. It is okay.
You're only
Keep
human.
going.
You're only human. I love it. Awesome, man. Right. Well, I appreciate everybody that's consistently following us and listening to our podcast. We love you guys. And again, if there's anybody out there who really is struggling, and all jokes aside, seriously, you're struggling with things in your life, because everybody is. And don't think for 1 second that nobody is immune to that. Whatever you're going through in life, it's not that bad. It really is not that bad. And so just feel like it's a resource. We'd love to plug in to help you out. But we do appreciate the regular listeners here. And again, if you're new, we hope this is of value to you guys. We're here every week, every Wednesday. We're recording these podcasts and uploading them to our YouTube channel, Team Freedom. So we're excited to hear it. And again, till next week, y'all have an amazing time and go out and crush it.
Peace.
Peace.